you to this course, this video. In this video, we are going to be discussing vibe coding. We're going to be making an inventory management system using vibe coding, and for the IDE, we are going to be making use of the Google Anti-Gravity. In my previous video, we discussed the Google Anti-Gravity, and some of you requested for this particular video, and here it is. Please, if this is the first time you are coming across this channel, please consider subscribing and then hit on the notification bell so that anytime I post a video, you get notified, and share the channel. All right, let's get started. So if this is your first video, so what you basically need to do is to go to antigravity.google and download your anti-gravity. That is if you don't have the anti-gravity. So you come here, you download the IDE. Now this IDE is a special IDE which integrates with some of the AI agents, utilizing models like the Google Gemini 3 Pro and Google Gemini Flash 3 Pro, with other models like CRUD 4.5 Sonnet and thinking models like the Opus model. And this video is not going to be centered on how to install the anti-gravity, but we are going to be making use of the Django and Django Ninja to make an API backend for an inventory management system. We are not going to be writing any code specifically, but what we are going to be doing is to give the IDE or the agent a prompt, a very simple prompt, and walk through with it, and then serve as the product manager while the agent does its tasks. So let's go to our anti-gravity. So I opened a folder called inventory, and I created these two files, which are the requirements.txt. So the requirements for this project is Django, Django Ninja, and Django cores headers. So these are what we would need to be able to run this project. And for the features, I made a markdown to specify all the features I want in this application. And these are the features that I would give to this AI agent, and it reads it and knows what to do for me. Now, before we proceed, I would like to create a virtual environment, because I don't want to also tell it to create this virtual environment for me. So I'm going to create this virtual environment manually while I go ahead to prompt this AI. So let's get started. So I'm going to open my terminal, and I am going to select the command prompt. And here I'm going to type this command, python -m space venv. So the name of this virtual environment is going to be venv. And let's activate this virtual environment. So since we are using the command prompt, we can simply just mention the name of the virtual environment, /scripts /activate with venv backslash scripts backslash activate, and this is active right now. So let's do the needful. Pip install -r requirements.txt. So this is, we are installing all the requirements, but you can do this thing directly by just coming here, tell it what it will do. It has the ability to run your terminals, but I just decided to do it manually so that I wouldn't be spending much of the time that I would use to prompt my AI. And as you know, I am making use of the free version of anti-gravity, and there are some limitations to how many prompts that I'm going to give to these models. So I'm trying to maximize my chances. All right, so we can either go with Google Gemini 3 Pro, which is the most intelligent model from Google, or we can go with the CRUD Opus or CRUD Sonnet. So let's pick anyone. In my previous video, I think I chose the Google Gemini 3. So this time around, let's pick the the CRUD Sonnet 4.5 thinking. Okay, or should we pick the Opus? So let's pick the Opus this time around, and we basically need to tell it to go through these features and help us to build this application. So go through the features.md and understand the project and help us build the API backend for the application. Very simple prompt. I don't want to make it so complex. All right, so let's hit on the send button, and now we're going to wait for it to plan everything. And so as you can see here, you can see it is already planning the stuff. So it says, I can see this is an inventory management system project that needs a Django backend with Django Ninja for the API. The project is mostly empty right now, just with just feature.md and requirement.txt. So which means it already knows the content of our project. And VMV folder, let me check the requirements.txt and then create a comprehensive plan for building the API. So you can see it has done the implementation plan for us. So this is inventory management API backend implementation. Build a complete Django plus Django Ninja API backend for inventory management with user authentication, CRUD operation, search, pagination, and CSV export functionalities. And then here is the proposed changes. For the settings, you have database, calls, installed app, authentication setting, and all that. So this is just an implementation, this thing. And you can see the API inventory API.py, where it also is going to create a get method for the API item. So this is going to be for listing the items in our inventory. Okay, so if you want to get all the items in our inventory, while if you want to get one single item, this is the API endpoint for that. and there is going to be a get method as well, and this is going to be a post method, and this is going to be the endpoint for creating new item, and then put method for updating the item, delete method for deleting the item, and then get method for getting the CSV export, and also get method for the category listing, and post method to create categories. So these are the API endpoints according to the implementation plan that we have here. And for the authentication, we're going to have the user registration endpoint here, and this is going to be the register, and then we are going to also have the login endpoint here, which is going to be here, and you can see it's going to get the token, and then we have another post method which is for the logout, and then the get method which is going to be for our profile, so where you can get the user info, that's the profile. Okay, and this is the file structure that we are going to have. We're going to have the inventory directory, and which is going to contain the manage.py and other things, config, which is going to be inside the inventory, and then this config is going to be our project because it contains the settings.py, and then we have the accounts, which is going to basically be for the API accounts, that's for the authentication and stuff, and the user account management, and then this is going to be the inventory app, as you can see right here. Okay, so this is going to be like the implementation plan, and then here you can see it has already created a lot of things which we are going to also check later on. So for now, let's just close all these things. So these are some of its work. I'm not going to be taking my time right now, but if you go to the tags, you would see which one it has done and which one it is yet to do. And right here, doesn't mark anything as completed, so it actually means nothing has been completed. But if you go through the accounts, you see we have the project directly is the inventory, and if you go to the accounts, you see the account, and right here this is the account model, which I can just simply accept the changes. Okay, and then if you go to the admin, you still see some of the changes it has also made. If you come to the schema, you would also see that. So, but the schema is very important to us because this is where we would collect our data from. So we need to be careful to handle it carefully. And from what it has written so far, it did a very nice job. You can see from Ninja import schema, and then from Pydantic import email string, and then from typing import optional, and from date import date time. And for the user registration, you can see we require username, email, password, phone number is optional, and company is optional. And for the login, we have email and password. And then user out, which is the output for the user, which is going to like take the profile pages. This is where you feed the profile page with some of the users data, and this is the user out schema, and here is the ID, the username, the email, phone number, which is optional, and then company, which is also optional, and then the date at which it was created. All right, so let's just come back. So you can see it added something to the requirements.txt, which is the email validator. So this is basically what we can use to validate our emails. All right, so let's see. I think it has done some justice to this, because from what I can see right here, some of these things are already done. So let's try opening this, because it says we should open this particular URL. But though it's still working on the pages, so let me just close some of these things. Let's just come here, paste this page, but I'm going to close the anti-gravity. Let's run this. So right here, we are going to basically see the API endpoint. So you can see we have inventory management API, and this is our API endpoints. So this is the auth, the user register, the login, the logout, the current user, the category, the API category, and so on. So these are all the API that we can see right here, and you can see authorized here, and here we can just set up some of our BRR value or whatever, but I'm not going to do that right now. We can test out this API using Postman, but right now I am basically going to be making use of my browser for now. So let's test out the register endpoint for now. So let's click on try it out. Alright, so right here we can set up the username. So let's say the username is Chris, and for the email, let's say the email is Chris 440 at gmail.com. And for the password, we can just do anything. So let me just pick a random password. Yeah. And then for the phone number, let's just put some random phone number. And for the company, we can keep it empty because it is optional, but let's just do it Louis groups. Okay, so let's execute this. All right, so you can see we have created this. You can see it right here, and this is it. So you can see we have created this. So 201, which means that we created this account successfully. And you can see access control, allow origin, content length, and all that. All right, so I'm not going to be talking much on this, but just know that we have created this account. And to validate if this is true, we can simply go to anti-gravity server. Let's do this, set on. Let's go to the SQL database, and let's look for the extension called SQLite viewer. So SQLite viewer. So this is the SQLite viewer. So we can simply just install it. So SQLite viewer has been installed. So let's go back here and then click on db .sqlite3 so that we can see the content of this database, because right now we are still in the dev mode, so we can simply use the SQLite for now until we are done with the project. And if we want to go public, then we can use something like Postgres or MySQL or whichever other databases that you may like. So let's check the user. And you can see we have one user and the password is hatched. So this is Louis Chris and is active, the date joined, the email, phone number, the company, the date it was created and the date updated. So this is just the content we have in the database. So we really created this user, right? So this user was created successfully. So now I think I really need to close one of these browser.